A while back ago, I uploaded a Lightroom tutorial explaining the edit from start to finish of a photo. Something I didn't explain, however, which often causes confusion, are the export settings. Therefore, in this video, I want to guide you through those settings in Lightroom and show you how I export my images, and also recommend some settings for other uses such as Instagram or for web. With that said, let's get into Lightroom. So here we are in Lightroom. This is the photo we're going to export. To start, I'll right click on the image and select export, which will open this window. Here we have many little settings we can tweak, however not all of them are actually relevant, but let's quickly go over the most important ones. Let's start with the export location. This is really just a personal preference thing. I like to have my photos exported into the same folder as the raw images, but in a subfolder. So here I just typed export, which will be the folder's name. Then below that, the next tab is the file naming. Here you can tell Lightroom to rename your image by ticking this box and choosing one of these options. But I just keep the original name, so I keep the box unticked. Then the video tab we're going to skip because we don't edit videos in Lightroom, and the following tab is for the file settings. Here you can choose your file type, color space, and quality. When I export my images, those are done and not intended for further editing, therefore I export JPEGs. The color space I just leave at sRGB, which is a standard color space, and the quality I keep at 100%. Under the slider for the quality, we have a box we can tick to limit the file size, which will of course influence the quality. I usually don't limit the file size because it limits the image quality, however when exporting images intended for online use, like on a website, it is pretty useful. To keep the loading speed of your website fast, you should avoid uploading huge images. Therefore, I recommend limiting your file size to something as small as 300k, depending on how big your image is displayed. 300k is a good limit for fast loading speeds and a good looking image which is not displayed hugely on your website. You will notice the huge loss of quality as soon as you try to zoom in, therefore your image is also kind of still safe because downloading it from your site doesn't give the thief a high quality image. Anyway, for this image we are keeping the quality at 100% and leaving the limit unticked. The next tab to set is the image sizing. Here you can resize your image to fit certain parameters, and also you can choose your pixels per inch resolution. For my normal high quality export, I just stick to the original size of my image and keep the resizing unticked. However, some like to use this for Instagram exports. When you upload a full res photo to Instagram, it compresses the hell out of your image to resize it to the size it wants, which is usually 1080 by 1350 for the 4:5 aspect ratio. Some people claim that you can increase the image quality by minimizing the compression Instagram has to put your image through, and therefore it is recommended to resize your image accordingly. So in the case of a 4:5 image, you need to export it as a 1080 by 1350 image, but personally I find Instagram actually does quite a good job at compressing my images without making them look like garbage. Therefore, I actually never change the export settings for Instagram. I just upload the full res photo and it looks fine to me. Anyway, let's move on to the pixels per inch. These become relevant for printing. I always just keep it at 300, which is a great standard to enable good printing. The next tab below is the output sharpening. I always sharpen my images in the edit already, therefore I don't add any extra sharpening here. Below we have the metadata. Here I have these two boxes selected, but you can actually do as you want because this won't influence your image quality. Watermarking I have turned off because I don't want to put one on my images. And lastly, here we have the post-processing tab, which is not really relevant. I've got it to set to do nothing after the export. And those are all the settings. Something I highly recommend you to do after setting your export is to save the settings as a preset. If you look to the left here, you can see under user presets there's one called T Standard, which is just my standard high quality export which I just showed you. To add your settings as a preset, just click add and type a name. Then the next time when you finish editing an image, you can simply right click the image and select your preset under export. I hope I could clear up some questions for you concerning the export settings, and I hope you could find some value in this video. If so, leave a like, I'd appreciate it. And if you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe, and hopefully see you again next week. Goodbye.